Hey guys, we're back here with another episode of Chasin Birdies, and my man.
What's up, buddy?
Dude, it's good seeing you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, you look pretty fresh, bud.
Hey, dude, I'm here for it. You know, we got a lot of good things happening over here at Chasin Birdies, and I'm just excited about life, man.
It's good.
You know?
It's good. So
And-
how's the golf game been, man?
Dude, I tell you what, it's coming around, even though we're at the end of the year. I
It's a
feel
good
like
time for it to come around, bud.
just in time for winter. No, but seriously, it's not as bad as it was, and getting some good practice in. You and I just recently played a little golf, and
Ooh, a little two-man?
yeah, man, and that's something that we'll be bringing to y'all here in a couple weeks, hopefully. But how's your game?
It's a lot of hit and a lot of miss. So if
Yeah.
that makes sense, right? It's not terrible, but it's not good. It's just right there. I'm not really making an effort at it right now.
It's
I think it's the end of the season.
Mhm.
You know, your season's just ramping up,
Yeah.
as a lot of us know.
yeah.
The tour of Ryan Bashauer never ends.
Oh, it's ending
um,
this year though. I think I'm gonna ski a little bit this year.
Yeah?
Yeah, bud.
Yeah, that's one thing that you'll learn about my counterpart here is that he'll pick something up quickly, be all in for about 2 weeks, and then you never see him do it again. So it's
oh shit, man, that's funny.
what-
No, so the Ryder Cup. I mean, we haven't really talked about the Ryder
the Ryder
Cup.
Cup was impressive. I mean, again, everybody's saying you see Tiger and Phil, they were the problem. Yeah, they're the problem. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Domination.
Yeah.
Domination.
Michael Jordan was the problem for the Bulls too. But it was impressive to watch. A lot of young guys stepped up to the plate, hit some shots that were, I mean, in that moment, pressure, pretty
Yeah.
badass at that age.
And-
How good is Morikawa?
Dude, he's like automatic.
But he hits his 6-iron closer than I hit my 54-degree wedge.
And that's a stat. I've said that before on the show, guys. Morikawa is more accurate with his 6-iron than tour players are with their wedges, and it's a fact. But I tell you,
Are you taking that to the bank? Because we're pretty big, man, and somebody gets a hold of this stat, and it's not true.
No,
we could be ruined.
no, I take it to the bank. That's a fact.
All right.
I tell you what's a fact as well is getting into some Pittsburgh sports here. The Steelers are just god awful, man, huh?
They're bad.
I mean, it's football season here in Southwest PA, North Central West Virginia. The Mountaineers are not doing well at all. Sorry, West Virginia fans. I am one, but they look not that good. And naturally, the Steelers are on a struggle bus as well.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's a wrap for my man Ben, which he's really not my man, but I think it's over, bud.
I saw a picture the other day of it was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with what's that old guy's name, Shredder, or and that was Ben with the two little turtles being Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, and the cat from Cincinnati. And now they had a picture of old Shredder walking hunched over with the turtles all carrying him. And they're all 3-1, and we're sitting here at 1-3. But getting into the Pittsburgh sports, we got the hockey season getting underway.
Dude, I got a funny story.
Yeah, go
We're
ahead.
gonna tell it. So go to Tampa, Florida with a buddy of mine, Brandon, and we're at a trade show, and we're gonna take some clients to a hockey game that night, Tampa Bay Lightning, or it's a preseason game, but it was cool just to take some clients. So our hotel overlooks the arena in Tampa, and our buddy from 44, Jamie, was kind enough to hook us up with some tickets, and we're getting ready at 6:15. We look down at the arena, and there's not a single soul walking around. So I'm like, this is really weird, man, but whatever. We all meet in the lobby. We walk over at 6:45. And there's still not a soul walking around the arena. And it says on the tickets, Florida Panthers at Tampa Bay Lightning. So a Florida Panther fan's walking in, and he's looking around like, what the hell's going on here? Well, he looks at his phone. He said, oh, shit. The game's in Orlando. So, needless to say, we didn't go to Orlando for the
So
game.
you guys were at the arena waiting for this game,
Yeah, but
and
we
it's
had
in Orlando.
Suite P1. No wonder it was a suite. It was in Orlando, though.
Yeah, bud.
So it was. I don't get embarrassed very easily. That was a little embarrassing there. But
Hey,
you
man.
win some, you lose some. throw a couple tickets at will call.
Yep, and pick them up and be in the wrong city. But, that kind of is in line with our guest today.
The old 2-9er. A lot of people that listen to this show know of him. If you don't know of him, he is hilarious. He had a very, very nice career here in Pittsburgh and in the Rangers and a quick stint in Ottawa. But he is hilarious, and this guy has stories for days. And, I would have loved to have been around him when he had that cup for 2 years back-to-back as a player.
5-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, and we got Phil Bourque coming to your ears. And again, the old 2-9er, he's now the radio play-by-play guy for the Penguins, and he has 3 cups as the radio play-by-play. 2 as a player. That makes 5.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It was a great interview, so we can't wait to bring it to you. So we're going to roll this bad boy right into Phil Bourque, and we hope you all enjoy this episode. As you all know by now, Chasin Birdies is proud to be partners with Holderness and Bourne. Check them out online at hbgolf.com. Holderness and Bourne makes fabulous pieces that help you look good on the course, even if your game is not up to par. Check out their new arrivals now for this golf season. Also, head on over to chasinbirdies.com to get some custom Chasin Birdie gear from Holderness and Bourne. We'll continue to drop these pieces through every season. That's chasinbirdies.com and Holderness and Bourne at hbgolf.com. Hey guys, thanks listening again to another episode of Chasin Birdies. We're coming at you today from the Dirty Dog Cigar Shoppe in, where are we, McKeesport?
Yeah, we're in McKeesport, bud.
Yeah. With a Stanley Cup champion sitting here to my right, Mr. Phil Bourque. Phil, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Well, he's a two-time Stanley Cup. Two-time Stanley Cup champion player, three-time as an announcer.
5 rings. Yeah. There's only a couple of us that have the 5 rings. Mario Lemieux, obviously.
Yeah.
Bob Erie, obviously.
Okay.
And one other guy, Gilles Meloche. If you remember Gilles Meloche.
Goalie.
Goaltender coach, scout. So we're the only guys to have all 5 Stanley Cup rings.
You have 5 engagement rings out there somewhere.
Yeah. All right now, bud.
He didn't say no.
We, funny enough, Jonathan and I met on the ice at Mon Valley at Ross Draver back in the day.
Yeah.
We were little
I was a right winger. You were a left winger. We did it.
Yeah, man. So that's how we go back to meeting.
Nice.
And then
you see it worked out.
Obviously.
Yeah, now I'm stuck with him. It's like glue. But it's great, man.
So let's talk a little bit about your career. You were drafted, undrafted, and then signed by the Pittsburgh Penguins in 1980.
1982. I graduated high school in 1980. But back then, obviously the U.S. Olympic team had just won gold, and my goal, really, from when I was probably about 12, to get to the NHL. I couldn't get there fast enough. I had a passion to play in the NHL, like I can't even put into words. And so back in those late 70s, early 80s, I think the percentage of U.S. kids playing in the NHL were maybe 20%, maybe even less than that. There weren't that many. It was almost all Canadians, and you'd sprinkle in a couple of Euros.
That's crazy.
But I was hell-bent. I was going to get there. My dad just wanted me to play college hockey because he didn't want to pay for college. He wanted me to get the scholarship. Yep. So long story short, our high school teams played in the Boston Garden in the state tournament, and a gentleman, Jean Rattel, who was playing for the Boston Bruins, saw me play. Long story short, next thing I know, Jean Rattel is sitting in my living room consulting me and my family about, hey, what do you want to do? I think you're a pretty good hockey player. Can you imagine this? This is like, I don't know, this is like Jake Gensel, going to some kid in McKeesport. Saw him play a high school hockey game. Next thing you know, he's in his living room. So anyways, I get a tryout to play junior hockey up in Kingston, Ontario. And I go up there for 2 or 3 days just for the tryout. And the coach just said, hey, just come try it out and see what you want to do. After 2 or 3 days, coach calls me in his office. This is like it was yesterday, Jonathan. Calls me in the office, just like you and I are sitting here. He goes, hey, man, I like the way you play. I'd like to have you on my hockey team. I said, wow, man, I love it here. I want to stay. I said, hey, coach, I looked him in the eye. You got to remember, I just turned 18. I got kind of a chip on my shoulder. I'm a little bit of a cocky, not quite arrogant, but cocky kid. And I looked him right in the eye. I said, hey, coach, will you write down the names of the players that I just played against that have already been drafted by NHL clubs. And I kind of knew who they were, but he jotted them down on like a Post-it note, and he gave me the piece of paper. I looked at the piece of paper. I put it down on the table. I turned it around to face him again. I pushed it back to him. I looked him right in the eye like I'm looking you right in the eye right now. And I said, hey, coach, I'm as good, if not better than those guys. I want to stay. He goes, that's good enough for me. He reached inside his pocket, gave me $300 in cash, said, call your mom and dad. Tell them to send your stuff up, your clothes, whatever you need. Here's some money. Go buy some toiletries. Go buy some stuff you're going to need. And I'll pick up the phone. I'll get you a billet family to live with. And really, that was when I was 18. And I haven't been home. But to get back to your point, those 2 years in junior hockey, I thought I was going to get drafted. I get an agent, the whole thing. And once you play junior hockey, you get paid $80 a week. $40 goes into a savings account, $40 cash. And that was my gas money. And if I wanted to take a lady friend out for a movie or something, I had to make that $40 a week work, right? But I had a couple good years in junior. I had an agent. He told me I was going to get drafted, but I don't get drafted. But after the draft, I get 2 phone calls. One was from the head scout at my hometown Boston Bruins. The other was from the head scout of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, I don't know if we want to get into this or not, but my dad and I, we had a very, for choice of better words, abusive relationship, both physically and verbally. So I needed to get the hell away from my dad, as far away as possible. Like trying out for the Boston Bruins, as much as I would have loved to play for the Bruins, it would have been great. But that's where my dad was. For you, yeah. So I accepted. And you remember back in the early 80s, the Penguins, they sucked, right? So I figured my chances are better to play for the Penguins than the Bruins. I accepted the offer, borrowed my mom's 1978 Mercury Cougar, and I drove to Pittsburgh for a tryout. And the conversation with the scout was like, hey, Phil, saw you play junior hockey. We'll give you a couple nights in the hotel, a little bit of meal money, and see what you can do. And that was the start of my career.
Wow. What a story there.
So you go into the locker room, 1982, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Who's on that team? Because Lemieux gets drafted in 85.
84. Right, 84. Yeah, he's there for the 84-85 season. Randy Carlyle, Rick Kehoe, Pat Boutette, Michel Dion. I mean, those kind of Paul Gardner.
Michel Dion with the goalie mask. The beak goalie
the
mask.
Beak was classic, right? It was great with a big, long beak on it. I mean, it's still... some of the other goalies, I know Marc-Andre Fleury has put it on his mask when he was here with the Penguins, but yeah, just a bunch of an old kind of group of guys that man, they were rough.
So I have a Randy Carlyle story.
Oh yeah,
with so back in the day, my parents had season tickets from 1980 to 2015, whatever. So in the 80s, nobody was at those games. You could go to the glass and sit.
Yeah, it's basically pick a section now.
Yeah.
It's like going to the Pirates game now. You know what I mean? It's like you look, and you remember when people used to wear bags on their heads?
Mm-hmm.
They wear bags because when the 11 o'clock news was showing highlights of the Penguins,
they didn't want to be seen.
They didn't want people at work the next morning going, hey, jackass, I saw you at the Penguins game. So they put bags over their heads.
So I think it might have been 82. My dad tells me this story. Randy Carlisle's, they're getting pounded. I forget by who, but Carlisle's skating back to the bench. My parents are first row behind the bench. And my mom's crazy. And she stands up and she said, hey, Carlisle, fucking skate. It's not the ice capades. He looks up at her and goes, fuck you. Hops back over the boards. And that's my mom's claim to fame with Randy Carlisle. Every time she sees him like coaching her, and she's like, I told him.
Wow.
So
she had a fuck you fight with Randy Carlisle.
Yeah, with Randy Carlisle. That's exciting.
It's a claim to fame there for Dev. Huh?
Yeah. So you make the team in. Well, let's rewind a little bit. They draft Lemieux in 84. What was that like? I mean, being around. I know that you didn't actually get on the team until 88.
Right, full time. Right, that's
bouncing
back and forth. I was down in Baltimore in the American Hockey League, bouncing back and forth.
When he gets drafted, was Sid, when I was that age, you knew he was that good because the social media, all that.
Sure.
Was it that big?
It was. There was a lot of hype, and you're right. There wasn't social media. There wasn't cell phones. There was none of that. But you heard about this kid in Montreal that was just lighting it up. His numbers were just off the charts. He's 6'4", 6'5". So I'll tell you a quick story. So this is my third training camp with in 84, 85, and I was playing defense at the time. And I'm trying to make my mark, as I mentioned. I'm back and forth. I'm trying to make the hockey team. So first scrimmage we have, we're actually at the Mount Lebanon High School rink. That's where we had training camp. And the first training camp, I think to myself, this cocky, this big, first round, first overall pick, I'm going to light him up, So he's coming through the middle of the ice, Jonathan, and I got him all lined up. Like I'm gonna lay this kid. His head's kind of down, and he's kind of like long and gangly, and I'm gonna make my mark. The coaches, the scouts are all gonna see it and be like, that Bourque kid, I want him on my team. He just lit up Lemieux, right? So yeah, I go flying at him, right? He pulls a 360 move on me, seamless, boom, around me. I basically fall face first onto the ice. I look up, he's gone the other way. I'm like, holy shit, this guy is real. I'm not going to do that again. But that was the first time I kind of like had one of those old man moments of like, this guy's special.
So when you were playing at that point in time, I guess in the early 90s, that's when Jágr, when did they sign Jaromír?
89?
90.
Or 90.
He was drafted in 90.
So the buzz, was there any type of buzz with those two?
Not as much.
Yeah.
I mean, here's another guy, probably one of the top 10, right?
Yeah.
You got to put him top 10 all time, probably, when you think about it. When you look at his numbers and look at everything. And he's still playing at 50, which is another whole story. But you could see that this kid had special talent, but if people remember, he didn't speak a lick of English.
Yeah.
Being from Czechoslovakia, he grew up on a farm, but you kind of looked at him and you were like, wow, this kid, he got huge legs, a huge ass, and he was just he's the perfect build for a hockey player. People look at me when I was in my best shape, and they were kind of like, wow, I thought you were bigger. They'd say that to me all the time. Wow, I thought you were bigger. I'm just because they think of athletes in Pittsburgh like football players. You should be built like a football player. You can't play hockey like that. But Jágr was built perfect. He has these big hands, right? He had that big rump and the big legs. He had these big, wide feet that are perfect for balance and fending off people in the corner. But it took him actually a while. I remember, I got a quick story, that his first year, he used to cut through the middle of the ice. He probably did that in the Czecho League and could do it all the time. But he used to get lit up like a Christmas tree. And we'd sit on the bench and be like, oh, man, he would just get smoked. And he came back to the bench. And I remember one time he's on the bench and he was homesick. It was not an easy first year for him. It ended well towards the end, but he had some kind of growing pains. And I remember he came to the bench and he sits down next to me after a tough shift of just getting laid out. And he's kind of got that, you ever had that cry where you kind of hyperventilate, where like that?
Yeah.
And it was loud enough where I heard it sitting next to him, and some guys down the rest of the bench heard it. And I'm kind of tapping him like, no problem, Yags, come on, next shift, we'll be good. Well, big baritone Kevin Stevens, down about 4 or 5 down, hears him crying. He stands up on the bench, and a bunch of our guys, right, Jonathan? Check your ego at the door. We say things to each other to motivate each other that if you didn't know us, you'd be like, holy shit, these guys hate each other. Yeah, right. Big Kevin stands up and goes, is he fucking crying? Like, what? Stop that kid from crying. What the hell? What the hell's going on here? And I'm just like, Artie, it's good. He's good. He's next shift. He'll be good. I was just like thinking like, here's this kid who ends up being like one of the greatest players, but he went through that moment, man, where he was crying like a 12-year-old that was missing his mommy,
Yep. Just kind of lost.
He found his way eventually. Yeah.
Man, that's a cool story.
So, I mean, when you're 88, 89, 90, okay, you get Jágr in 90, you got Lemieux, Jágr, Tommy Barrasso, my all-time favorite, Robbie Brown's there. Are you thinking we got a chance here to win a cup?
No, we're thinking we got to make the playoffs. Because the year before, we made the playoffs in 88, 89. We missed the playoffs in 89, 90. We lose the last game of the regular season to the Buffalo Sabres in overtime. Uwe Krupp from the left point just throws one at the net. It hits Chris Dahlquist, our defenseman, in the pants and deflects in. Because we lost that game in overtime, we missed the playoffs, and the Islanders are in. But that gave us a chance to draft Jágr 5th overall in 1990. But anyways, when you start getting Jágr, and we got eventually Ronnie Francis, and we get Brian Trottier, and we get Joey Mullen, right? We got Larry Murphy. Look, I'm just rattling off all these Hall of Famers. Can you freaking believe this?
Yeah.
I knew we had a good team, obviously, but you never really know. When you throw that mix together, you never really know, right? But when you talk about great teams, you always have to talk about the foot soldiers, right? And I consider myself one of those. And I don't want to talk about myself, but I want to talk about the guys like Bob Erie and guys like Troy Loney and guys like that, and even guys like Jimmy Pack. Like, you're only as strong as your weakest link. We didn't have any weak links because we wouldn't allow it in our locker room. We had a great coach in Badger Bob Johnson. He was the perfect mix, but Mario's still going through all his back problems. You know what I mean? So you never really know. But when we got to the playoffs and we win that first round against the New Jersey Devils, where Frank Pietrangelo has to come in and make the save in Game 6.
Mm-hmm.
We come home and win Game 7 on a shutout. But that's the way the playoffs are. It doesn't matter who you are.
So up and down.
Right? You win one series, especially that first series that's so tough to win. So once we won that first series the way we won it, you just kind of get that little bit of belief, and you win the next series, against the Washington Capitals or the Rangers, whoever we played. You slowly start to think like, okay, things are starting to line up here, but you never want to get ahead of yourself. Guys, we won game number 6 against the Minnesota North Stars in our first cup in 1990, 8-0. It wasn't until 2 minutes left in that game that Mark Recchi was sitting next to me, and I looked at him, and I kind of was able to exhale at that moment. We're up 8-0. I think our chances of winning are pretty good, right?
Right, yeah.
But I wouldn't allow myself to relax
focused,
until that moment and just said, hey, Rex, we're going to win the fucking cup. That was the first moment I allowed myself, because that's how you have to be to win the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you never – that's a long-winded answer to your short question, but you never really believe you're going to win it until it's in your hand.
Yep. So you win the cup, you have a party, and obviously everyone that is a Pittsburgh Penguin fan, they know that let's take this cup down to the river and party. When you guys won that cup, got it back to Pittsburgh, what transpired? I mean, party-wise, I know the Lemieux party went to the bottom of the pool, and
I threw it in.
You were the guy.
I was the guy, yeah.
And a lot of this people need to understand would not happen nowadays. Well, it still happens a little bit, but back then there was not a cup holder, quote unquote, where he's
keeper of the cup.
Yeah,
right.
Keeper of the cup's with you at all times. So tell us, you get the cup to Lemieux's house.
Well, let me back up a little bit, because we get to the airport and we're flying back from Minnesota after the game, and the pilot of our charter is saying, hey, I just talked to the tower in Pittsburgh. There's 10,000 people at the airport. We're like, yeah, right. Sure, there are, right? Another 20 minutes go by. This is your pilot again. And I've just talked to the tower in Pittsburgh. There's now 20,000 people at the airport to greet you guys. We're like, yeah, BS. Another 20 minutes, 30,000. Same message. Just talk to the tower. 40,000 people are at the airport. I hope you guys are ready for this.
Oh, my God.
We get to the airport, and they shuttle us through. And this is before, obviously 9/11 and security. There's people at the gate. It's a gauntlet of people. Like, you feared for your life. If you tripped and fell, you're probably not making it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of crazy. But they didn't prepare for this. So the team had school buses waiting for us in the airport parking lot to get us to our cars. Well, it was gridlock. We couldn't go anywhere. Bob Airey's wife was hyperventilating. They were trying to get her a paper bag, so she could breathe into it, because she was freaking out because there's people jumping on the bus. It's in the end of May. It's like 85 degrees out. You're sweating your kahunas off, right? Anyways, they divert the buses away from the cars, and we go to Tom Barrasso's house in Swickley. So that's where it all kind of started, that the cup was on the lawn at Tom Barrasso's house. So we're there partying and drinking out of the cup, blah, 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 blah. The sun's about to come up. Myself and Wendell Young and Jimmy Pack and a couple of others say, listen, let's take a school bus back. Let's get in our cars. We'll have lots of time to party. We're all exhausted. On our way back, the freaking school bus runs out of gas. So I'm over by Flockety Run Road, if you know where that is, over by the airport where the old airport used to be. And we get out of the bus, and I'm like, I got to get home. So I stick my thumb out, and this guy's driving by, and he goes by me, and I see his neck whip around. He locks up his brakes, throws it in reverse, backs up. He goes, hey, how are you, Phil Bourque? And didn't you just win the Stanley Cup? I'm like, yeah, man, I need a ride home. He's like, I'm just going to work at the airport, but screw it. Get in. I'll take you home. So that's my funny story, is what did you do after winning the Stanley Cup? Well, I had to thumb a ride home. I had to hitch a ride home because the school bus ran out of gas.
That's hilarious.
Then Mario has the pool party, and I end up throwing the cup into the deep end of the pool. But, shenanigans, man, because, there was no keeper of the cup. They just kind of trusted you that you weren't going to screw it up.
Right. And how the hell did you get that thing out of the bottom of the pool? Because
good question.
Because
it's hollow.
It's hollow.
It's sunk like a Volkswagen. Yeah. So it took about 5 players because quick story. So I'm sitting in the hot tub at Mario's, just palatial house in Mount Lebanon. He's got this beautiful in-ground swimming pool. Then there's like this tiered waterfall that has neon lights in it. And Tom Barrasso, our goaltender, had gone up the waterfall at the top level and put the cup up there for pictures. It was beautiful. It was great. And so I'm sitting in the hot tub in my BVDs, just having the cold beverage, just kind of taking this all in. The music's kind of low, and I'm like, this party is so lame. This is not a Stanley Cup party. So I got out of the hot tub, around over the pool I go, and I start hiking up the waterfall like King Kong up the Empire State Building, you know. And I hike up there, and I get the Stanley Cup, and I'm sitting there in my gotchis, and I'm on the top of the waterfall, and I'm holding the cup over my head, and that's when a bunch of people came over, and they started taking pictures and everything, and they're like, throw the cup in the pool, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do it, and I just heaved the thing into the deep end, not thinking, number one, it was hollow, Jonathan, and it sunk like a rock, number one, but number two, silver and chlorine is not a good mix. But I'll tell you what, that party got freaking started, man. People started ripping their clothes off. Everybody's jumping in the pool. They've got the cup over their head in the pool. It's just crazy town. And then all of a sudden the music got louder. The beer started flowing, and we just had a blast, man. But we didn't realize what we did to the cup, because it was just so much chlorine in the pool, because you knew a lot of people were going to be there. The next morning, the cup was like a muddy brown. It got all like tarnished. So Craig Patrick, we had the parade. It was like 2 days later, we were going to have the parade going to the Point State Park, right? That's when I did let's take this down the river and party all summer. So Craig Patrick, the way the story was told to me, had to find like a silversmith that was going to be able to like repair this thing and polish this thing so it'd be ready to go. Wow.
Do they etch everyone's name on the cup, or the team?
Yes.
All the names.
All the names. You're starting with
owner,
scouts, assistant coaches, trainers, but there's a limit. And I want to say it's something like 56. I think it's 56.
You were the janitor of the Civic Arena. You didn't get on the cup, all right?
I know, but listen, here's my question. How many layers do they have to keep adding, right? I mean,
well, now don't they remove layers and put in the Hall of Fame?
So the cup does not get any taller. So the large bands that are on the lower half of the cup, so the top band, when the bottom band gets full, the top band comes out, gets laid flat, and put in the vault at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. Because that used to be the Bank of Montreal. They converted it into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So there's a giant vault in the back. So that's where those pieces of silver get laid out flat. And then everything gets shifted up, and the new band gets put on the bottom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So now you guys win the cup, 91. You're partying all summer. How do you, and again, this is the name of our podcast is Chasin Birdies. So you guys are essentially chasing a birdie for the next year to win the Stanley Cup. How do you get motivated again, like you said, the number of Hall of Famers, I don't think people realize how many Hall of Famers were on that team. And then to get motivation for 92 to win back to back.
That's a great question. And we struggled. We were not good. You go look at our record. It's easy to look up online. We weren't good. And so it was around February. We were borderline out of the playoffs, right around that, and we were kind of just wallowing in mediocrity. We're at the I think the Westin Hotel in Calgary. We're about to do the Western Canada swing. Craig Patrick, our general manager, calls a meeting in one of the event rooms. We all gathered together, and it was just one of those coming to Jesus moments, you know. And a bunch of guys stood up in that meeting. Peter Taglianetti, Brian Trottier, Ulf Samuelson, just kind of voiced what was wrong. Like, what do we have to do to get this thing going? And I said, this is my time. So I stood up and I said, Craig, and this is when Badger Bob Johnson, our coach from 91, had passed away from brain cancer. He had died in November. So Scotty Bowman was our head coach, winningest coach in hockey history, won multiple cups in Montreal. But he was so different from Badger Bob that we didn't gel. We didn't jive, you know. And here we have all these Hall of Famers, but we're sucking. So I stood up and I said, Craig, I don't think we can win with Scotty Bowman as our head coach. The room went silent. But everybody was talking about it. I just felt I wanted to win so friggin' bad. I just felt it needed to be said.
Yeah, jump started.
And this is right. This is where I think our team, and I don't want to take credit for this, but I really feel all the other guys voicing not displeasure, but what needed to be done on the ice and off the ice. Well, Craig was unbelievable. Craig just said, anybody knows Craig Patrick knows he just has a calmness to him, a coolness to him, and he's really a thinking man's type of person. He said, guys, I agree with a lot of the things you're saying. Some of the stuff I do, some of the stuff I don't. The only thing I don't agree with, and he looked me right in the eye in this meeting room, he said, I don't agree with what you said, Bourque. I believe we can win with Scotty Bowman, and we will win with Scotty Bowman. I'll go to Scotty. He'll meet you halfway, but you meet him halfway, and let's start winning some hockey games. And he walked out of the room. We all looked at each other and said, let's fucking go. And that was it. And you look at our record from then, we won that game in Calgary, and we got it going, man. And then we took off in 92.
So you get through the playoffs in 92. Now we're the night before Game 1 against the Chicago Blackhawks in 1992. What's going through your mind for an opportunity at back-to-back Stanley Cups?
Wow. You're talking, 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's 30 years ago.
Yeah. What am I thinking before Game 1? Probably like all the other playoff games, a wreck. I don't sleep at night. Back then, there wasn't Ambien. It was Halcyon. Do you remember that drug, Halcyon? Mm-hmm. It was the Ambien of the 90s. And they ended up banning it because people were like committing crimes over in Europe taking Halcyon. But I had a prescription. I had to take Halcyon because I couldn't sleep. I was a wreck. I was one of those guys. And that's why, like, when I played, I was very chatty, kind of like I am here, because when I'm nervous, I talk a lot, So my stomach was probably in a knot to the point where you kind of like, you feel like you're going to puke, but you have to eat because you need fuel to play the game. So it was tumultuous for me before games.
And you guys swept them.
We swept Chicago.
They win the second Stanley Cup. All right, we get the Stanley Cup back.
Yep.
Party time. Party time again.
Party time again.
So you're thinking, oh, shit, here we go again. Another summer.
Yeah, but now I'm a free agent. My contract's up.
So you kind of got to.
So now I'm like, but a bunch of other guys had to get paid. Yager was supposed to get paid. Tom Barrasso was up, and there's a couple other guys that were kind of before me on the totem pole.
Tommy Barrasso wanted all the money. So
he had expensive habits. Yeah, even more than yours. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy.
No, he loved cars. Yeah. No, that was his thing. I'll tell you a quick story. Before Game 1 in Chicago, this is unbelievable. We're at the Drake. We're staying at the Drake. I'm sorry, this isn't before Game 1. This is before Game 4, the clinching game. We're staying at the Drake Hotel, which is right on the Lake Michigan, and Jay Caulfield's my roommate.
He's the best.
And we had this routine. Badger Bob always wanted us to eat oatmeal. I thought oatmeal was like the food of winter.
Holy grail.
He get you in the morning, come up to you in the morning skate, he come over, he kind of rub your shoulder. He's like, hey man, how you doing? How you feeling? You ready? You ready to go tonight? Did you have your oatmeal? Did you walk the dog? Like he was like just these quirky things. You're like, yeah, man, I had so Jay and I are having our oatmeal at the Drake Hotel. We look down the front of the hotel, pulls up this beautiful black Rolls Royce pulls up. It's gorgeous. And I'm like, Jay, look at that car, man. Like, who the hell's driving a car like that? The driver gets out, and he's got the keys in his hand. He's just kind of leaning on the front of the car. And look, he's waiting for somebody. Sure enough, out of the front of the hotel, there comes Tommy Barrasso strolling through. The guy tosses Tommy the keys. Tommy gets in the rolls, and off they go. What the hell is going on here? We got game. We're gonna clinch tonight. We can win the cup tonight. Tommy's out driving around in the rolls. I guess he bought the car right there, had it shipped to Pittsburgh. He bought it to put pressure on himself to win Game 4 so he can get the bonus money that you get for winning the cup to pay for the rolls.
Whoa. What?
So,
isn't that sick?
And this is a guy, he was driving Ferrari. He drive a Ferrari for a month and then he sell it and get like a S-Class Mercedes. He drive that for a couple months. Next thing you know, he's driving something else exotic. It's like just burning through cars and money like I've never seen before.
I mean, okay, so
it's like Pep.
Yeah, Toyota Camrys, boy, they run good. So you get the Stanley Cup for a little bit longer this time. Generally, you're supposed to get the Stanley Cup for 2 days. You party with it for 2 days. You get a phone call from who, and for how long do you have the cup? And walk us through that.
Paul Martha was the president of the team and was supposed to have the cup for a weekend, for 3 days. And I was supposed to have the cup right after him. So he called me, and I was not that far. I was living actually in Upper St. Clair. He said, "Hey, Bourque, I'm down at the Civic Arena. I have the cup with me. I just got a call. I got to go out of town. So I see that you're next on the list. If you can get down here before I have to go to the airport to leave for my business trip, you can have my 3 days and then just have it for your 2 days too. I'll get it another time." I must have broke every driving law there was. I was in and out of traffic. I was up on curbs and sidewalks. So I ended up having the cup for 5 days. I had one of these big Broncos, not like a white OJ Bronco. Mine was red. But I put that thing in the back of the Bronco. I had a buddy of mine that lived in the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I just hopped in my car and just drove down with him. And I said, "Hey, just meet. Let's meet for a cocktail." And I came walking in with the cup, and I took that thing everywhere. A buddy of mine was playing softball, like up in Robinson. I showed up at this softball game with the cup. I just wanted to share it with everybody. You know what I mean? So I took it everywhere.
What were the reactions of the public? You walk into a bar in Maryland.
Yeah.
Right. With
people
the cup.
flip out. I mean, they just freak out.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Everyone knows what the Stanley Cup is. That's the crazy
It's just
thing.
so unique and so special that people want to touch it first, they want a picture with it second, and then they want to drink out of it. Those are the memories that they want.
So you had it for an extended time, and you had to do some repairs to the cup.
And anybody that knows me knows I'm not a real handy guy. Like when it comes to putting things together, furniture together and stuff like that, I suck. So, yeah, the night before I was supposed to return it, I had it on my living room floor, and I was just kind of looking at the names and just kind of soaking it in, knowing I got to give it back. But I noticed something had come loose on the inside. I was like, "Oh shit, I can't give the cup back with it damaged." So I went underneath my kitchen sink. I had a little red toolbox. I got it. I put it on the living room floor, and there's a little plastic piece on the bottom of the cup. I just popped it off. I took a pen light, put it in my mouth, and I crawled inside the Stanley Cup.
No.
Yeah, and when I was in there, I noticed where the original bowl meets the rest of the larger part of the cup, just a little nut had come loose. Well, I was like, "Shit, I can fix that." So I just tightened it up, and I fixed it. I repaired it. But when I was inside with the pen light, I noticed 3 French guys had engraved their name on the inside. They had repaired the cup back in the 70s, and they just used an engraver, and it said repaired by like René Lévesque, Jean-Jacques St. Louis, and some other name, and they put a date that they repaired it. Bam, light bulb goes off. I'm like, hell, if they can do that, I can do that. So I put some beers on ice. I got a screwdriver, and I put, in quotation marks, "Enjoy it. Phil Bourque, Pittsburgh Penguins, 91-92 Cup champs." And so forever, I was the only guy to have my name on the outside and the inside. Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's freaking awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
What? Yeah. Oh man.
So we'll get to the good stuff, but so you went.
It's all good stuff.
It's
bud,
great stuff.
Don't discount what you just talked about for the last 31 minutes. All right.
Your hockey career is at the peak right now. Now, where do you go from here as a player, as an individual? Because you retired in 2000. Tell us a little bit about the end of your career, and then we're going to get into talking a little bit about our true passion here, a little bit of golf.
Yeah. Well, when I left the Penguins, I went to the Rangers. And basically went for the money. They were a good team. I had a funny feeling they were going to win. They ended up winning in '94, and I was there until the trade deadline. I actually get traded from the Rangers to the Ottawa Senators, which literally was from the penthouse to the outhouse. I don't mean that in disrespect to the Ottawa Senators, so don't send me any kind of tweets or emails or anything. At the time, the Rangers were first overall. Ottawa was dead last. So it really went from top to bottom. But my career was starting to unravel.
Real quick, you went from playing with Lemieux Yager to Gretzky, Messier.
No, Gretzky wasn't there yet.
Messier
was there. Adam Graves was there. Brian Leach, Mike Richter.
Yep.
It was a really good team.
Yeah.
And Mike Keenan comes in, and he was Iron Mike.
Uh-huh.
Like, he was a son of a bitch. He was, these guys were just rolling through the league, and the practices were intense. He's screaming at guys. He's calling out Adam Graves, calling him you're a pussy, you're soft, stick up for your teammates. It's just like, damn, man. Like Iron Mike, man. I think he knew, like, this is their one chance. And they hadn't won since 1940, and they ended up so winning. But then I kind of my body starts breaking down. I had a bad climbing accident where I fell 4 stories, broke my neck in 5 places out by Flagstaff, Arizona, a place called Lake Powell. I was out there in the summertime, blew out my knee in Ottawa, ACL reconstruction, 2 rotator cuffs. So my body's starting to break down, but I'm not ready to give it up yet. So I go from Ottawa, I go to Chicago in the International Hockey League, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm just beating myself up. Somebody says, why don't you go to Europe? So I go over to Germany, and I play over there for 3 years. And that was the way for me to kind of get it out of my system, you know? So I have no regrets. People ask me all the time, do you miss playing, Bourque? Hell no. I played 18 years professional, and I milked my body out of every single ounce I had. So I always miss being around the game, but I don't miss lacing up the skates and having my head beat in by somebody trying to run me through the boards.
So what brought you back to Pittsburgh then after that?
Well, that's a good question because I'm from Boston originally. So when I retired, I went back there, and I was living back there, and I was trying to get a job. And a couple things popped up, and they fell through. Actually, I was up for the TV job before Eddie Olczyk got it. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll take a year off. And I did everything I couldn't do in my contract. I bought a motorcycle. Your contract says you can't do that. I went bungee jumping, and your contract says you can't do that. I jumped out of an airplane. Your contract says you can't do it. So I just had fun for a year.
Yeah.
But the problem was, guys, that year turned into 3 years for me. I went 3 years without a paycheck. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Pepe or who you are with a big, bank account like he has.
Right.
Yep. You know, all of a sudden you start glancing, like,
Yeah, it's
I need
going
to start
down.
to work. And not only that, for my mental health, because I was getting depressed, you know, because I didn't have a paycheck. You know, I had no self-worth. You know what I mean? And I was making phone calls to everybody. It just wasn't panning out for whatever reason. Anyways, I ended up calling Mario Lemieux, and I said, hey, man, I need help. I've gone 3 years without work. I was bouncing back and forth between Pittsburgh and Boston. He said, meet me up at my country club. He was up at Nevillewood, and we had lunch up there. And he said, I'll see what I can do. Stay by your phone. But the advice he gave me was, you need to get back into Pittsburgh, get your name and your face out there, and just start networking. Get out there and stay by your phone. Long story short, he calls me up and says, I think I got something for you. Tom McMillan's going to call you in about a week, who was the head of media relations. And that's when Eddie Olczyk went from the TV booth to head coach. Bob Erie, who was doing the radio, went from radio to TV, and I slid into the radio job, and that was back in 2003.
And
you've been there since?
Been there since, yeah.
And the cool thing about Lemieux, which you got, you talk, Caulfield, call him the big guy. The cool thing about the big guy is that he genuinely cares about people that are in his life. You, Mark Recchi,
Rick Tocchet,
yeah. Artie. I mean,
yeah.
Artie went through a Kevin
lot.
Stevens went through a lot in his career, and he's still by his side. And a lot of people would leave him high and dry because they don't want to associate with.
That's good, Jonathan.
And again, not only is he the top 3 greatest hockey players of all time, he's an unbelievable guy too.
Yeah.
So
incredibly loyal.
Yes.
Yeah, loyal. If you're lucky enough to be one of those people that he lets you in. I think about it all the time. I never take my job for granted. I love my job. I love it. I don't want to coach. I don't want to do anything. I love broadcasting games. I like talking about the Penguins. And I always think, like, at that moment, if he didn't help me out, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know where
you'd be.
I really don't know where I would be, because, like, financially, I was really in a bad place.
And I think that a lot of people can say that about the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fortunate enough to meet you through Talk, Caulfield, those guys, and obviously we've developed a good relationship in the golf world, and that's all of our passions here. So tell us a little bit about how you got into golf.
Yeah, I see the Punxsutawney Country Club Yeti you got going on right now.
Oh, do I?
Maybe that's
that was a Freudian thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't even. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just out there chasing birdies, man.
That's right.
Yeah. No, it's great. I love the name of your podcast, and you guys are knocking out. I see some of the guests you have.
Yeah.
Holy frig, man! I'm like, wow, let me in the club here.
Yeah.
I feel honored. I do feel privileged. But my dad was a golf fanatic. He was crazy. He had all the little gimmicky things, all the little trinkets and stuff working on his game, but he never took me golfing. I never played. It was his thing, you know what I mean? And again, we didn't have that warm and fuzzy relationship. So even if he did ask me, I probably said no. But then I didn't really pick up the game until really when I went to the Rangers. And so I was in my 30s. I was around 30 when I actually played a few rounds where I was like, oh, I kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
When I played for the Rangers, I lived in a cul-de-sac, and there was about 7 or 8 houses. And the guy in the first house of the cul-de-sac, in 1988, he won the New York State Lottery. He won like $24 million, which was a huge pot back then. You know, they didn't have these $200, $300, $400 million pots. But he was into golf, so I started golfing with him a lot, and I just had this love of it. And when you hit that good shot, you guys know what I'm talking about, like that pure shot. You're just like, oh man, there's nothing better, right? There's nothing better. And so I got the fever. And so I've never had a lesson. You've seen me play. My swing is crap. I've had people on a cell phone take a picture of my swing. It's absolutely awful. But every once in a while, more times than not now, I play a good enough game where it's respectable.
And it keeps you coming back.
And it keeps me coming back. And I don't take it serious. A lot of times I don't even keep score sometimes because because people tell me all the time, well, I don't want to play golf with you. You're a hockey player. You're probably great. And I'm like, no, I'm not great. You know what? There's 5 reasons I play golf. And golf is the last one. Friends, sunshine, cigars, beer, and then golf. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and I'll tell you this much: he smokes about 4 to 5 cigars around the golf.
Oh, you
more
guys,
than me.
you guys together smoking cigars.
Yeah, we light each other's cigars off.
I mean,
it's great.
Well, there's a connection between golf and hockey. I mean, I know just with the golf swing kind of relative to the hockey
hand-eye and all that.
Uh-huh.
Well, you look at all these old NHL players, current NHL players. That's the thing to do right now. The action is there. It's just getting the techniques down to where you can hit the golf ball.
Well, won't you guys agree? And this is why, like Steph Curry and Michael Jordan and all these incredible athletes in their sport, they play golf. Why? Because they can't friggin' master it the way they did their own sport.
No.
There's nothing more challenging for a guy, sports-wise, right, than golf. Because, like I said, you can be a 170-yard par 3, and you can stick it next to the pin, right? The next par 3, you're 150 yards, and you shank it into the woods. Like it's the craziest game.
Yeah.
So it's one of these love-hate things that we can't get enough of, right?
No, can't. And we've been fortunate enough to play a lot of golf together, Jonathan and I, and we have a lot of fun with it. But there's those rounds where him and I are just like, what the hell is happening right now, man? Like, we're not this bad.
You mean like comes to club championships and stuff like that? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, his little yacht thing he did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he fumbles, gets to the goal line, fumbles.
Oh, I didn't hear what happened.
Oh, here we go.
Well, he lost to someone that can't even hold a club, apparently. That's what he said. But anyways, give him a hall pass. It happens to all of us.
It does. And I was at the point, I wanted to quit golf, bud.
Yeah, I was close.
Temporarily.
Do you just like...
I don't even want to play.
Yeah.
It's so bad. That I didn't even want to play. And then...
What about today?
Oh, let's go. All right, we'll go. But that's the thing that, you look at somebody like Jay Caulfield, I'll use an example. This guy, this guy pounds it, dude, but you don't know where it's going.
Well, we played with JT and Vince a couple weeks ago at Sewickley, and I mean, JT
Miller and Vince Trocheck, yeah.
JT
kills it, mashes it, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
So where are you playing around the area?
I'm playing Diamond Run quite a bit because I moved up to Warrendale.
Yeah.
So I'm up there. I played Cranberry Highlands the other day in an event, and gorgeous course. But I'm really liking Diamond Run. But, I've been bebopping around to some Pheasant Ridge.
I never heard.
It's a little public course that has new ownership. Guy Mike and Christian up there. And the greens are pristine, man. I'm telling you right now. I challenge you to go up there and find another public course in southwestern or in all of PA that has better greens than Pheasant Ridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah. It's just a little honey hole, little track up there that's really good. I'll bop over to Allegheny if I've got somebody to play with over there. Sewickley Heights is another great course. So,
Eric
Tangradi is always looking for a game at Allegheny. I mean, I know he's got 3 or 4 on his short list, so
okay,
I'm sure he's always open for a game.
Okay.
To you, what's the best golf course that you've ever played?
Laurel Valley.
That's what I think. JT says that. Vince says that. I think it's the whole experience too at Laurel Valley.
Yeah.
You show up, smoke cigars inside.
Yeah.
I took it a little step further one time. You show up and they say, "Gentlemen, please, this place is yours. Smoke cigars inside, et cetera, et cetera." So I walk into the pro shop with my cigar lit.
No.
And my buddy Shane, who's the assistant pro there, says, "Hey, bud, people want to buy these shirts."
Oh.
And so the smoke's going into the shirts and everything. So that's the only place don't smoke. And that's an amateur move. But, man, that whole experience, Arnold Palmer, I mean, just everything about Laurel Valley.
Everything about it. Yeah, there is a prestigeness about it. And it's a uniqueness about it because it's a bit of a drive for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a place that you're just going to go all the time. Like there's a specialness to it that when you go there.
You get amped up.
It's like I have a friend that plays Oakmont, and I hope that doesn't come out the wrong way. But I remember once a year I get to play Oakmont with him, a buddy of mine, Jeff. And when the round's over, I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beat up,
Yep.
because that course does it to you. Because if you just don't hit the perfect shot, you walk up, you're like, man, that was pure. That felt so good. You're in a bunker, and you got to use a 60 degree just to get out and get back in the fairway. That just it wears you out if you're not a real good golfer.
Well, yeah, and it does wear you out. And that's why I always tell people that are going to Laurel Valley, you take your Oakmont experience, and it's completely opposite at Laurel Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Oakmont, gentlemen, 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's almost like anybody that I know that plays Oakmont for the first time, I said, you're not going to remember a hole because you're like,
going.
Right.
Let's
Especially
go.
since they took the trees out.
Right. Like, let's go. We got to keep it going.
Yeah.
And you at the end of the round, you're like, I don't even remember anything because we were rushing.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true. Very true.
And to you, you've played a lot of golf with Mario and Pierre LaRouche and Talk and those guys. Who do you want on your side for a money game?
Pierre.
He's a stud.
Oh,
He's such a stud.
Man.
That's what I hear.
He has this. He's
That broken French accent.
yeah, but he's very stealth. You know what I mean? He's very unassuming. He's yucking it up. He's got a cigar in his mouth. And you're just like he's having too much fun to stripe one 285 right down the middle, but then he doesn't.
But then
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then same thing in the middle of the fairway. He's got like a 175 shot. He's got to bend it around the tree, and he's again cigar in the mouth, yucking it up, and then he just kind of stands up and bam, he just like holy smokes, like. Meanwhile, I'm like over the ball, checking my feet. I'm checking my hands. I'm looking at the spot like 4 or 5 times. I'm asking somebody, "What's the number again? What's the number again?" Like, right?
Butterfly flies in front of you.
I'm going through this checklist, and they probably think I'm like Sergio Garcia, like from 8 years ago. You're like, just hit the friggin' ball, will you? And then Pierre just stands up and bam,
bam. Man,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
hilarious.
and that's the thing about golf too. The relationships. You're in networking. I mean, you make a good amount of your money from networking too. Your car dealership deals and some other things. And I mean, hey, we met each other on the golf course.
Yeah.
Probably the worst.
No,
move ever
I've
for
been
you,
I've been lucky that way. That I do have a lot of stuff on the side, and golf is a big part of that, right? That a lot of these relationships with whether it's a CEO of a company or somebody else that kind of and you're right, it's all about networking.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been really lucky because when you think of it, guys, there's been some incredible athletes, way better than me, that have come down the turnpike and played around here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a lot of guys doing a lot of commercials or spokesperson for this or for that. And I've been able to do that to the point now where I'm almost worried about, am I putting myself out there too much? You know what I mean? I don't want to saturate it too much. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to find that balance of picking and choosing the right things to be a spokesperson for and things that are meaningful to me.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing that, again, golf, we talk about chasing birdies, but you're chasing birdies in life too. Your next deal that you need to sign with somebody else or a radio show. You want to be prime time for the radio show pregame and you want to do your best. So that's why golf, I think, it beats you up, but at the same time, it brings you back and the relationships that you build from golf.
You think it's hard to think of something else. I don't know if you can think of something else where if you're trying to form that relationship with somebody on the business side or friendship side, to take what's the average round of golf, 4.5, 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you spend that time in the cart. Good shots, bad shots, having a cigar, having a cocktail, whatever it is, and spending that in close proximity with somebody that you're either going to hate each other or you're going to really like each other. And more times than not, we end up forming, if it's not a business relationship, it's a really good friendship relationship.
Now, I've played with you a fair amount, and the putter that you use, I mean, he's got a putter deal with this company, man.
Well, it's you're embellishing a little bit here. It's actually with Labatt's.
Yeah.
Labatt's beer. We had the alumni golf outing on the Valley Brook a few years ago. In fact, it's probably close to 10 years ago. And I was on the putting green, just kind of warming up a little bit. And they had pulled a vehicle up, and they were bringing a bunch of stuff in for the silent auction. And all of a sudden, I saw this hockey stick. I'm just like, hey, man, what's that for? They're like, oh, you put it up on the wall behind your bar. It's a hockey stick, but it's kind of a putter, too. It's kind of one of those things. I was like, hey, do you mind if I use it? They're like, hell yeah, go ahead. I started draining putts with it.
No.
I've been using it ever since.
That's what you use?
It's a hockey stick.
Bud, Labatt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a freaking... It's an advertisement like you've never seen. Labatt's down
yeah,
to the...
Labatt's all the graphics of Labatt.
It's literally... It's
how many
blue
inches?
light is all over it.
How many inches? Is
too
it
tall
like
for
a putter?
you, bud.
Well, I know that. I mean,
No, it's tall enough, right? I don't look like I'm using like a little mini stick, but then I changed the grip on it. So I put the oversized grip on it.
Dude, the first time I played with him, I'm like, are you serious right now? I said, yeah, what's wrong with it? He could literally, it's a hockey stick. The blade is a straight. It looks like it has black tape on it, like you tape your hockey stick.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just photographed on there. And he could put left-handed or right-handed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
dude, he would love Pete Dye.
Oh,
it's it's a fun, lax environment down here in Bridgeport, West Virginia, Phil. And, get the beers going, get the music going.
Well, he loves Nemacolin, which Nemacolin's a sponsor of the show. And have you been up there since the Peak? Have you heard about the Peak?
What is the Peak?
Brand new pool. I think it's like 4 feet deep. All kinds of grottos. They have a lazy river now. Huge concert venue.
I heard about this.
Dude.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Maggie was putting some money into the resort, and
there's no resort like that place.
Can I tell you a quick story about Shepherd's Rock?
Yeah.
The grand opening. So for the grand opening, they had a kind of a, I guess I would call it a pro-am, whatever you want to call it. So you go the night before, and they had this auction, and people could bid on who they want to be their celebrity.
Uh-huh.
And so Brett Kiesel was there. John Daly was there. Vince Trocheck was there. And so I'm with a group of guys, and I end up having a little bit of a late night at the casino till way too late. So I barely roll up for our tea time. No warm-up, nothing. So our front nine, the guys I was with were pretty good, and we did pretty well, but we kicked ass on the back nine when I finally sobered up, right? And so you get in, and the event's over, and they're like, hey, Bourque, you coming in for lunch? I'm like, usually sometimes I get out of there. I'm like, no, I'll stick around. Get in there, and people are like, hey, Bourque, your score was pretty good. I'm like, really? I don't know. I think we were like 15 under or something like that. Ends up being Brett Kiesel was also 15 under. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? So before this starts, they ask you, is there a charity that if you win the thing, is there a charity? And I didn't ask what the prize was. I think $1,000 or something like that, right? So I end up getting something local out at Fayette County there. They have a no-kill animal shelter out there, Friends of Animals in Fayette County. I make that my charity. So anyways, they go to the tiebreaker, me and Kiesel, right? And I never heard of this before, but they say the back nine is going to be the tiebreaker. I'm like, really? Like, we did pretty good in the back nine. So I end up winning it. So they bring me up. They go, hey, would you mind doing a photo op? You're the winner. I'm like, okay, great. They want those big golfer's checks, So they got a cameraman. I'm thinking, okay, so they have a big Sharpie, and they're like filling out Friends of Animals of Fayette County, right? And they're about to fill out the amount. And they put a 5. And they put a 0. They put a comma. I'm like, oh, shit. 0, 0. 50 grand. 50 grand for this shelter that was all volunteer, all donations, like everything. Everything was donations, like from bleach to clean the floors to printer paper. They needed everything.
Wow.
So when we got on a 3-way phone call and called them and let them know they were receiving 50 grand from Nemacolin and Shepherd's Rock, people fell to their knees crying. Like, it was life-changing for this shelter that, like, they had side buildings because, again, they keep animals longer. So they had to keep building and building and building because it's no kill. They just hope for people to come and take them and adopt these animals. So people literally fell to their knees crying, so thankful that they were being.
And honestly, that's one thing that Nemacolin doesn't get a lot of credit for is people don't realize how much they do in the community for a lot.
They're the largest employer in Fayette County.
Yeah. It's again,
good
it's
spot.
awesome.
Great
so
people.
Nemacolin.com. Check them out. Phil might even play around the golf with you.
Hell yeah.
Let's roll into what we call our tap-in segment, which is our last segment of the show. I'm going to ask you a few questions. You give us what comes to the top of your mind.
Shoot.
All right. Lowest round of golf and where?
79 at Diamond Run.
Okay. Yeah, Mick.
Breaking 80.
Yeah, breaking 80.
Amen.
That's the only time I've ever broke 80.
Wow.
Yeah,
There was
legit.
There was a guy there named Mickey.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, passed away. But this guy took care of the boys like no other.
Yeah, he ran the locker room and just a heart of gold. Just you bringing up his name, you just bring a flush of memories right now. Yeah.
All right, dream foursome.
Dream foursome.
Dead or alive.
Okay. Bobby Orr, Elvis.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Jesus.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. Wow. I like it.
Bobby Orr.
There's a lot going on in that group.
Elvis.
And Phil Bourque.
And Jesus.
And Phil Bourque. Yes.
And Phil Bourque.
Oh, man. You're not
Let the good times roll, baby.
You're not having a bad day.
Favorite?
TCB, taking care of business. Go ahead.
Favorite NHL city?
Ooh. Can I give you two, please?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chicago and Montreal. Montreal, just for the mystique and the history and the building, the electricity, the atmosphere. And it's a great place to call the game, by the way, too. But Chicago, also the stadium, the national anthem. And I just love that Midwest mentality. The restaurants in Chicago are my favorite. It's just what I like. You know what I mean? I like that Midwest mentality where people are just friendly and they're real.
Yeah.
Now this last question, you've played with a million guys, but who is your favorite teammate?
The Wrecking Ball.
Mark Recchi.
Mark Recchi. Yeah.
Wow.
We lived together for a year when I bought my place in Upper St. Clair. And he's just one guy that I don't want to get into all the details because they're kind of personal. But he's done things for me that, one of those things where I don't know how many close friends you have.
One.
When I talk about close friends, I'm talking about people that you could call at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
I need help. I need $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody do it.
Mike Lang's one of those guys for me also.
Oh,
yeah.
Mark Recchi's one of those guys. And I think if I really put your feet to the fire, I bet you have a hard time coming up with 5 people for most of us. You think, okay, maybe this guy, maybe that guy, but for sure, locks.
Locks.
It's tough to come up with 5 people, but the Wrecking Ball is one of those guys for me.
Well,
that's awesome.
Again, we can't thank you for your time. I know it's valuable, and you're running around running a taxi service with your son. He's a goaltender.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you stopping by, chasing birdies, and keep chasing them, bud.
I'm going to keep chasing, man. You guys keep chasing them, too. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thanks.
This is flat out awesome.
Thank you.
We
keep
appreciate
it rolling.
Yeah, and let's get you on a course, man. Maybe before the snow comes.
Let me know.
All right.
Yeah, before hockey season starts.
Oh, that's true.
Get busy.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it, brother.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
What a episode that was. What are you doing over there?
I'm just trying to etch our name inside the member guest trophy on the inside. The outside side. I know.
Well,
hey, take it from Phil.
Yeah. What a guy that Phil Bourque is. I mean, he has stories hilarious. That Stanley Cup story where he carves his name on the inside of the cup.
Oh, my God.
Next to the two.
The guys that
take care of the cup. Hilarious. I mean, it's so funny that, again, it's funny what alcohol will do to you. But, again, he had some ups and downs in his career. And, I mean, how about Tommy Barrasso?
Bud, blowing through the dough on these vehicles.
And he bought one the day of Game 4 against the Chicago Blackhawks so that he had pressure on himself to buy that car. So he took it to the old rink.
He took a birdie chance right there. And obviously...
That's like you buying... That's like leading after 3 rounds of the World Golf Championship in Ecuador, all right? And you go and buy a car Saturday. Bud, I'd blow that lead so quick.
Oh, Bud. I know. Me too. I mean, let's be honest.
But it was a blast. So, Old 2-9er, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, man, we're again Nemacolin. We've been playing a little golf at Nemacolin, and it is awesome up there right now.
So
how
good.
about dude? You should travel up there to look at some leaves, huh?
But I enjoy looking at leaves, and this fall is going to be really good for me on the leaf scouting end of things. So I mean, it's nature, and
it's beautiful, man.
It's organic, and I think everybody's all screwed up now because of technology. But man, get outside, get some good fresh fall air, get some good fall golf in, smoke a brisket, watch a little football.
Cigar, bud.
Smoke a cigar, smoke whatever you want. It's a free world.
And so again, Nemacolin, the fall foliage right now is awesome. And again, if you want to go check them out, nemacolin.com, they've really been supportive of us. The golf courses are beautiful with those leaves, the colored leaves right now. It's pretty badass up there. And then the winter up there is really, really cool too. So that's the cool thing about Nemacolin. You get all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Nemacolin.com. Anyways, bud.
Yeah, we got a good episode coming out here next.
Yeah.
Taking it back to the football realm a little bit with
during college football.
Former Georgia quarterback Aaron Murray, current CBS sports analyst.
Do you know that he leads
golf nut?
He leads the SEC in touchdowns thrown.
Yeah.
So Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Tim Couch.
That's
Jared Lorenzen. I mean, the names in the SEC, there's some big names.
Yeah.
And this cat is
he's on top,
touchdowns.
Man. So we'll bring you that episode here on Chasin Birdies on the 28th of October, right before Halloween, and we'll keep it rolling there on that one with Aaron Murray. But for now,
and stay tuned. There might be a little treat coming your way over the next 2 weeks, and also, please make sure whoever bought something, we did a drawing this past Sunday on social media. So go look and see if your name is pulled, and we'll be pegging it up at Nemacolin.
Yep, we'll get that rolling. And thank y'all again for listening to another episode of Chasin Birdies. Ryan Bashauer here with Jonathan Pepe. Go ahead, bud.
ChasinBirdies.co. I mean, there's swag up there, but don't worry, we got some new swag coming. Holderness and Bourne, we bought some shirts to put up there. There's going to be a layering piece, the Ward sweater, and then we're doing some more hats and tri-blend t-shirts that are soft as a baby's ass.
And we're getting some stuff for the ladies.
Yep.
We need some ladies looking good in our swag, so stay on the lookout for that, guys. Thank you to Simpler Media for putting this thing together, and Rachel London for all her efforts. Have a good day, y'all. See ya.